Your Honor, we are here on the suit affecting the parent-child relationship. There was temporary orders done back some time ago. All it did was just establish Mr. Higginbottom as the father, and that was it. At this time, Your Honor, the parties are in agreement to temporary orders, and Mr. Higginbottom is asking that this be referred to district. I believe Mr. Lopez, the attorney for Ms. Stroup, is in agreement to that. The following terms is which the parties are in agreement to. Apologies, I forgot to get one thing. They are in agreement that child support is $366. That's giving him credit for one other child, Your Honor. That Ms. Stroup will continue carrying the medical and dental through her employer, which Mr. Higginbottom will reimburse the medical at 102 and the dental at 38. I apologize, I didn't ask whether or not this should, if they were asking for backdating, but my understanding is that they agree that this would start May 1st. The parties are in agreement to joint managing conservatorship. Mom is just asking that there would be a language limitation that Mr. Higginbottom cannot withdraw the child from daycare. With regards to non-disclosure, Your Honor, I don't believe that's an issue, but I think it would probably be best if these parties do communicate by app close, so I will ask them if they are in agreement with regards to that. Right now, Ms. Stroup is asking for retroactive at this time. Mr. Higginbottom doesn't want, or at least, I'm sorry. My brain is freezing. I believe retro should be reserved for the final, Your Honor. I know that Ms. Stroup was asking for it, and Mr. Higginbottom is just saying no right out, but I think that's an issue for district court, especially since there is some discovery issues that Mr. Lopez will get to, Your Honor. And then with regards to visitation, Mom is offering Mr. Higginbottom the 2nd and 4th Saturdays for up to 2 hours. She's asking to be the supervisor or another adult of her choosing. And this is because her concern is that Mr. Higginbottom doesn't have a driver's license. And so this is what they're asking for until Mr. Higginbottom can get a driver's license. And right now the child is under 3, Your Honor. The child is 2 years old. And that is my understanding. The main issue, at least, is the visitation. Mr. Higginbottom would like some more days added until they get to district, since district may take some time.
Absolutely. Okay. How many hours did you say? I didn't get to write that down. The 2nd and 4th Saturdays up to how many hours?
2 hours, Your Honor, is what Ms. Stroup was offering.
Okay, thank you. And then how old is the temporary order? Can you give me a date on that? How long has this already been pending?
Let's see, Your Honor. Let me get that for you. This case was filed December 17, 2024.
Okay.
And then it looks like
just about 4 months or so.
It looks like we did temporary orders January 14th, 2025.
Oh, okay. That was when, what was this December 17th date then, the filing?
Your Honor, I believe that was the filing, and then December was the setting where I think DNA was ordered, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hold on. I apologize. Let me do that again. Sorry. Filing was August 8, 2024. First setting was December 17, 2024. Looks like there was no DNA, but for some reason it was reset to January 1st, January
14th. I'm sorry, I don't have court files accessible to me, or I'd be looking it up myself.
Yes, I apologize, Your Honor.
Okay.
January 14, 2025 was when the parties came to a very basic temporary order stating Mr. Higginbottom was the father and everything else was reserved.
Okay. And Mr. Lopez, were you involved in any of the previous proceedings, or did you just recently come on board?
I was, Your Honor. I can shed a little light on the January 14th temporary order.
Okay.
The going back to the December hearing, that was reset because Mr. Higginbottom suggested that he wanted to get an attorney. So it was reset to January. January's hearing was reset because the court was hearing another matter that was going to take almost all day. So there was the issue of parentage, paternity, I'm sorry, and the temporary orders only reflected that Mr. Higginbottom was acknowledging his paternity. We wanted to get some other orders in place. Mr. Higginbottom didn't want anything further, so there wouldn't be an agreement. And of course, the court wasn't able to have a hearing, so it got reset to April. Since that time in January, Mr. Higginbottom has only seen the child once at a doctor's appointment, and on the child's birthday, he video chatted with the child. So we do have a necessity for temporary orders. It is in the child's best interest to do that. We don't know the reason why he still does not have a valid driver's license. We have asked for that in discovery. He has not answered discovery. I don't know if any communication he's had with Ms. Coates as to whether he plans to answer our discovery, but it would certainly shed some light and give my client peace of mind to have, and really in the best interest of the child, for this court to have that information validated. He's making assertions that his mother lives with him, but we have, it's in the court, it's in the public records that it's actually his mother's house and he lives with his mother. These are there are a lot of facts that we want to verify. We know that he is still driving himself, and he is driving his mother and his girlfriend. So the supervised visitation comes from the lack of trust that his mother, or the grandmother in this case, may say that they want to drive the child around, but in fact, they are having Mr. Higginbottom, who doesn't have a driver's license, drive her around. So we just don't believe that that will actually occur. There are some other reservations we have that would definitely be answered in discovery. We think that the second and fourth Saturday, or at least 2 Saturdays a month for the 2 hours at an agreed upon location, is in the child's best interest and more than fair, given that Mr. Higginbottom hasn't even requested discovery while orders are pending.
Okay, then if that, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ms. Coates. Did you have anything further in the way of opening?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, and that was your opening, Mr. Lopez? In full?
Yes, maybe out of turn, I apologize, Your Honor, but
I just want to make sure I'm not cutting y'all off. Mr. Higginbottom, you're here representing yourself. I guess you did not bring a lawyer, but just so that you're aware, you're acting as your own representative. Technically, lawyers do make opening statements. However, you're going to be called as a witness pretty soon, and you're going to get to testify under oath for all the facts of your case. Instead of asking you for an opening statement and then giving sworn testimony to the same thing, I'm just going to do it once. It's just more efficient that way, and I'll hear from you in full that way anyway. So, Ms. Coates, you're pleading your burden. I guess you'll call witnesses first.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you may do so.
All right, Mr. Higginbottom.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Before we get to the contested parts, are you in agreement to paying child support at $366 a month starting May 1st?
Yes.
And then on top of that, you would have to pay $38 for dental support. Are you in agreement to that?
Yes.
That would also start May 1st. And then with regards to medical support, that would be $102 every month starting May 1st. Are you in agreement with that?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Stroup is offering to be joint managing conservators. That just means you two make decisions together, but she has final say. However, there is a stipulation that she's currently asking for. This is all temporary. As I explained, you will be going to district per your request if the judge honors this. But right now, she's temporarily asking that you not be allowed to withdraw the child from daycare. Are you in agreement with that, or are you contesting that
Yes.
portion? Okay. You were in agreement? Just want to make sure.
Yes, ma'am.
And then there is an app called App Close. It's spelled APP Close, CLOSE. It is an app where parents can communicate with each other, and it censors communication. So if she were to cuss at you, you cuss at her, it will censor that. Are you okay with using that app? And then if there was an emergency, then you two could call each other. But would you prefer to communicate through that app?
What would be my question regarding that app is what's the need for it, or why is that being requested?
Miss Stroup is not requesting it, but I am suggesting it since there may be a little bit of difficulty between you two. Judges can access this. This also can be used in evidence, so that could be screenshotted. Like I said, it keeps from either party, from saying anything bad. It censors. You don't have to agree to this. This is simply the state's suggestion for the both of you. That way, if you two somehow can't get along, neither one of you want each other's number, then you can at least communicate that way.
Does that rule out any proceedings as far as like in future hearings or whatever, any prior screenshots, or is that in addition to?
It's an addition to, so this
Okay,
doesn't
that's
rule
fine
out
with me.
anything. This is just for the both of you, and so nobody can harass each other.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Now, with regards to the visits, she is offering the 2nd and 4th Saturdays for up to 2 hours. I understand that you would like a little bit more if she's only offering 2 Saturdays out of the month. Is that correct?
I would like that, but if I'm not going to get it, then that's fine. I'll take what I can get as of now. My rights were taken, so I'll take what I can get.
And she's asking.
Hold on, Ms. Coates, let me just jump in. It's not whatever you can get. It's what I hear the evidence of whatever I order. It's now up
Yeah,
to
no,
me, not you
that's
guys,
what I mean.
and how
Like
much
whatever.
how much she would let you or how much you want. I don't know. I want to hear your side. I'm going to hear her side. I'm going to try to be fair and figure it out. But we also have a young child, and I need to know more about how much time you spent with the child or not, and for what reasons, and all these good things that I usually hear in these kind of cases. So I can make a good decision.
Oh,
But it's not just whatever you can get. Whatever you can get is what I order, but you have to persuade me first, and I'm going to hear both sides completely before I make any
okay.
decision. Okay? So just so
All
you
right. So is
get that
that
part.
am I telling you my side now, or am I just responding to what she's asking?
Right now, you're only, and the state doesn't take a position, but they try to prosecute the case and bring out the facts for me, so I don't have to ask all the questions because that's not
Correct.
really my role.
Okay.
So you're answering the state's questions, and you're going to answer Mr. Lopez's questions, and then Ms. Stroup will have her turn as well, and then I will give you an opportunity to reply and or tell me everything you weren't asked by the lawyers, because I recognize there may be stuff you may want to talk about that you weren't asked. So we're gonna,
Okay.
it's a process, and that's why sometimes these cases take a little while, but
Oh,
I'm
yes,
willing
ma'am.
to spend the time to figure this out the best I can. Okay, Ms. Coates, you were asking questions, you can continue.
Okay. So, Mr. Higginbottom, as you know, Ms. Stroup has an issue right now with the fact that you don't have a driver's license. So she's offering to be the supervisor of these visits on the 2nd and 4th Saturdays for up to 2 hours. What would you be asking for with regards to visits? Now, again, this is just temporary. You would have to wait until you get a final order from a district court.
As previously agreed upon between me and Ms. Drew, prior to the court proceedings, was every other weekend. In the fact that she did know I did have a suspended driver's license, and she didn't have any issues with me picking him up prior to that, my mom picking him up prior to that. So I would like to go back to that proceeding agreement prior to the court case, which was every other weekend picking him up from daycare, or my mom picking him up from daycare. So because she has a valid driver's license, and having him until Sunday and meeting at the forum at Target to drop him off and pick him up.
And your mother lives with you and she has a valid license, is that correct?
Yes, my mother has a valid license as well as my girlfriend does, and it's my mother's house, but I file as head of household because I am the sole income here.
Can you explain why you don't have a driver's license?
I had an old ticket that was dismissed back in, I can't remember the exact dates, but I'm pretty sure I can find them if I look them up. It got dismissed in the same instance when me and Erica were together. It was dismissed, and she is aware as well.
Hold on, Mr. Higginbottom. I'm going to stop your camera. That way we could hear you.
Oh, okay.
All right, go ahead and what you were saying, a ticket was dismissed?
Tickets were dismissed. I can't remember when. It was a while back. After those tickets were dismissed, I did receive a driver's license and then it was suspended after that. I can't remember the dates. It was suspended after. And Erica Stroup was in knowing of all of this knowledge. We were together at the time. It wasn't when we weren't together. So yeah.
Do you know what was the reason your driver's license was suspended?
I never looked into it, nor did I know it was suspended until I got pulled over and got a ticket one day, and then they told me I was suspended.
Do you know around what year this was?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't. I think it may have been during COVID. I can't remember exactly because I did buy a car, right? I bought a Dodge Charger, 2015 Dodge Charger during or right before COVID with my driver's license. And I was pulled over in that car and they told me I was suspended.
So, why haven't you taken care of that?
I haven't had the opportunity to take care of that. Like I have been working prior to me working my current job at 20 an hour. I was working Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and watching Kalen Higginbottom Monday through Thursday. So I wasn't driving nowhere. I was in the house watching him. And then Erica was dropping me off work when I worked for a glass warehouse because I didn't have a car at the time.
Were you and Miss Stroup ever living together?
Yes, she lived with me in my apartment that was in my name.
When did she move out?
When my apartment lease was up, I would say April, I think of 23 after he was born. April of 23, she moved back with my mother, and I think she left maybe a month or two after that. I don't know the exact date that she left. I'm pretty sure I can find it, but I don't know the exact date. But I'm gonna say probably May or June, somewhere around there.
Okay. And so in 2023, you didn't have a driver's license.
Correct.
Was she doing all the driving or were y'all taking turns?
No, I was driving for the most part. It was kind of 50-50. But she would drop me off at work, pick me up some days. Other days when she didn't feel good, I did have to drive to work, unfortunately. But I had to pay the rent, so.
Okay. So so while you don't have a driver's license, would a provision in the order that says if you do not have a competent adult with a valid driver's license available and at the exchange for the child that you forfeit your visits, would that be something you would be okay with if the judge ordered what you are asking for?
If that's perfectly fine with me. Like I said, I have a girlfriend with a valid driver's license and a mother with a valid driver's license. I would be perfectly fine with that. I haven't driven in a while now, so.
Okay. If the court were to order maybe the second and fourth, as Ms. Stroup is asking for, are you asking for like step up, so at least working your way up to getting more hours? Are you asking for that?
I mean, initially that would be my plan going further. I mean, I don't understand why I wouldn't be. Yeah, I would like to just see my son. So yes, step ups.
Okay. And have you been able to see your son?
From that I know of, when I was told on January 14th, I have no rights. So when I was told that, I felt like I had no rights. I've been watching him every other weekend since. Anytime that he needed to be picked up from daycare, I was called and told to go pick him up. And if I was at work, I had my mother do it. So for me to be told I have no rights when I've taken care of her at times and my son at times, her and son at times, I didn't want to reach out to her to have an argument, which all of that is just something that frequently happened when I would want to talk about our son. It would turn into other things. So I'd rather wait for the court date to get the orders rather than have an argument or we say things back and forth that lead to unnecessary drama or situations. So no, I did not reach out but his birthday, and I did show up at the doctor's visits when I was informed of the date and the time.
When was the last time you physically saw your son or had your son?
The doctor visit prior to that, the doctor visit, and then prior to that, my orders being taken. I had him one weekend, and we met at a QT on FM 78, and I dropped him off to her, and I advised her that whenever she's ready, we can go week for week. And she said, no, I would not like to go week for week. I would like to wait for court. And then
Okay.
so.
Okay, so we need to step back a little bit.
Mhm.
When was that doctor visit?
Just this February. No, not February. April. May, let me see. I had it. Kaylin. It was I lied. March 28th was his appointment.
March 28th of this year?
March. Yeah, just this past March 28th.
Okay. You took him or you met them or what do
No,
you?
I met them there. Me, my mom, and my girlfriend met them there.
Okay. And then when you met up at the QT, when was that?
That was prior to the first hearing, so that's prior to December. Remember that. Actually, I can't. No, I can't. I would have to look for it and through our text messages. But that was prior to them. So December.
Uh, did did you see him at all in December?
In December, that was the last time I seen him was that, and then after that, no.
Okay. So December of 2024, during that visit, how long had you had your son?
I can find the date right now. I know I typically have him Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay. And so before this last December visit, that's what you were doing. You were getting him Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Every other weekend, yes. That's what was agreed upon after we broke up.
And then when we came to court is when things changed, or after the first court setting?
Things changed on the day of. Things changed before court when I was called by Erica Stroup one morning regarding my girlfriend, and ever since then she has not let me see my son because I have a girlfriend.
All right. Was there anything else I didn't ask you that you believe the judge should know at this time in order to help make decisions with regards to temporary visits?
We did you ask me prior to those every other weekends what was the watching schedule, like how was he being watched?
don't believe so, but if you want to explain what, how you're taking care. Shut.
So yeah, prior to her moving out and us going to every other weekend, again, I worked at a Caterpillar in Seguin, and I worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when she was staying with me, he was being watched by me because she worked during the day at the daycare. And then Friday, she had a friend's mother watch him, and she was paying for that. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I went to work, and she was watching him Friday, Saturday, and Sunday prior to that. And this is the time after he was born, when he was an infant still. So.
All right. I don't have any further questions, Your Honor. I just reserve the right to recall if necessary.
Okay, cross-examine Mr. Lopez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
May I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Higginbottom, you just stated under oath that the only time you've seen Kaylin was there since the last time of that scheduled hearing back in January was at his doctor's appointment. Is that correct?
I seen him on the video chat on his birthday and the doctor's appointment in person.
Okay. And have you requested visitation or other video communication since that January's hearing other than those 2 times?
No, sir, because I was told I have no rights.
Who told you that you had no rights?
On the previous on the hearing on January 14th, I was told that I have no rights, and all I am is all the order state is that I'm the father.
But who specifically said that you have no rights?
What is it? The lady, I don't know if it was the same lady prior, but it was one of the ladies that was the mediator, I guess. I cannot remember her name. It was the last mediator that went back and forth.
Are you speaking about the Attorney General?
Like the mediator lady that holds yeah. Whoever said that, she told me that the order states that I have no rights, and all it's saying is that I'm the father.
Okay. You also just stated under oath that your mother lives with you. Is that correct?
No, I said I file as head of household. This is my mother's home, and I'm the sole. I file as head of household.
So it is your mother's home.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you make mortgage payments on that house, or does she make mortgage payments on that house?
My mom does, but I do help her out. I give her money every month. So if that's
How much money do you give her every month?
about $300, $400.
Okay. And what is the address where you live?
Wait a minute, I don't want to
I'm on
publish that.
YouTube.
Well, hold on. We'll get it if we need it after off record, just to not expose his address.
Sure.
On the internet. Okay.
So we'll move on to the driver's license issue.
Yes, sir.
You said that you haven't had time to resolve the issue. How do you understand the issue needs to be resolved? What steps?
Initially, I was told that I do have to. I think there was a ticket that that was older that that I have to resolve, and then I go in through the process of reinstatement and pay whatever that fee is and so forth. I was told that by one of the, I guess, refs, or I can't remember what they are when you call the phone for the Bexar County, and I have to set the date for all of that. Yes.
Okay, and you just have not had time to do that?
No, sir. I have a son.
How much time do you think that would take?
Not that much, being that I do work and I have to get dropped off and picked up, and everything's closed after 5 as far as courthouses go.
Do you feel it's important to have a valid driver's license?
Oh, yes, sir.
Do you currently drive a vehicle?
I currently own a vehicle.
Do you currently drive a vehicle?
I currently own. I get dropped off in the morning by
It's
my
a yes or
girlfriend.
no question, sir. Do you currently drive a motor vehicle?
No.
You are stating under oath that you do not drive a vehicle.
I have not driven, no.
at any point in time that you have driven that you have had your driver's license suspended or
Have I driven?
have you
Yes.
driven a vehicle?
Yes. And at some point in time, I did drive a vehicle.
When was the last time you drove a vehicle while having an invalid driver's license suspended or revoked?
The last time I drove a vehicle was to Kaylin's appointment.
Have you ever, was anybody a passenger in that vehicle when you were driving it?
Yes, with 2 valid driver's license. Yes.
But you were driving?
Yes.
Who were those passengers when you were driving?
With my mother and my girlfriend.
And this was at the appointment that you went to go see your son?
Yes.
So to clarify, you were driving a vehicle and your mother was a passenger and your girlfriend was a passenger at that time, and you did not have a valid driver's license?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where do you work?
I work at a warehouse. It's called RMS.
And how do you get there?
My girlfriend drops me off in the morning so she can go to work.
Every time?
Yes.
How many hours a week do you work there?
40.
And do you get paid a salary, or are you on an hourly rate?
$20 an hour.
Okay. Do you have any other children that are not before the court today?
Yes.
And what are their names?
Courtney Higginbottom.
And what is the age of Courtney Higginbottom?
9 years old.
Were you, was there any court proceeding that awarded you custodial rights for the child?
Yes, sir.
Were you awarded primary custody?
Sole custody.
Is there any other conservator of the child?
Any other conservator? Outside of his mother, it's me and his mother. I have sole custody. His mother has the other half of it.
Okay, and does she exercise any rights?
No, she hasn't exercised any rights, no.
When did you and Ms. Stroup separate?
Around May or June of 2023.
Okay. Have you been providing any financial support for the child since then?
Financial support as in giving Erica Stroup money? No.
Okay. Now, can you please tell the court why you have not answered the discovery that was served on you back in January?
I wasn't given, the discovery was served and I didn't know how to answer it. I didn't know if to mail it back or call your attorney office or email it.
As the attorney for Ms. Stroup who served you, was my address and telephone number listed in a signature block on that discovery?
Yes.
Did you call my office asking how to respond to this?
No. No, I did not.
Did you mail my office asking how to respond to it?
No, I did not.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, then Mr. Higginbottom, let me let you have this time while you're still talking to put on whatever case you want to put on without question and answer. What is it you haven't been asked that you still want to discuss or tell me on the record?
I haven't been asked why knowingly regarding my driver's license being suspended, was it okay for Erica to allow me to drive, being that the appointment is being presented that I drove my mother to a doctor's appointment because she's a retired veteran who takes pills for pain in her knees and she can't always drive. As well as the appointments to the hospital at 3 o'clock in the morning when we were living together and I drove and she told me to drive, as well as birth when I drove. And she could have had her father and or mother who was also there drive. But she told me to drive. As well as, like I said, when he was born, watched him with her, worked in, and it was never an issue until now. So I also feel like I'm being played out to be a bad father of some sort and doing things the wrong way when everything that's being requested is also things that she allowed. And I feel like if she allowed him as well, she shouldn't be allowed to request something that was allowed by her. That's the first part. And then as well as no, that'd be it. That's really it.
Well, let me, just because this is my job, delve a little bit into your background too. Do you have
Yes,
any
ma'am.
kind of criminal history at all?
Criminal history, no.
You never been arrested for anything?
Outside of a ticket, like a bench warrant, no.
You got arrested for a ticket?
Like a bench warrant, like when I said I got pulled over when I bought the Charger and they said I had a suspended license, that's like when I mean arrested. I was in holding for the night. They reset the case for the tickets to to do the payment plans.
So that was with respect to your license, but they didn't charge you with anything else?
No, no, ma'am.
You know why you got stopped?
I actually was stopped because of a car that looked like mine was street racing. I had a black Charger, it's kind of, and then yeah, that's
Okay,
pretty much how that went.
but they didn't follow up with anything with respect to that, but
No,
they stopped you when you didn't have a license.
yeah.
Did you said some kind of probation or payments? Did you do all that?
I did like they reset the court dates, and it was like all this was during COVID. I tried to reset them again because I couldn't make it to the court. It was right before COVID, and then COVID hit, and I honestly it just left my mind because it was so much I was dealing with at the time, and then regarding her being pregnant. And I was just going day by day, which I know I shouldn't have forgot, but I was just kind of going day by day and trying to
You
figure
don't
out
think you
things.
have an arrest warrant for you for not following or completing whatever terms were set out, or?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty sure I do. I haven't received anything in the mail lately or since because I also had an apartment, so I don't know if it went there or if it came to my mother's house. And I also lived with my brothers at that time. I was in another house with my brothers, so I don't know if that arrest warrant may have went to an address I wasn't at anymore.
Okay, how old are you, sir?
34.
Okay, it's about time to take care of business, you think?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
So you had, they held you overnight for a ticket and you're still trying to deal with that, and it's been several years now. It looks like if that was pre-COVID.
That was they did it again. I got arrested again for I was coming back. I had to drive and to get to work when prior to after COVID, I would say what was it like? It was sometime in 2024. It was I think October,
Okay.
and I was dropping my son off, and on the way back, I got pulled over and arrested for suspended license.
You didn't have the child in the car with you?
No, I was dropping him off.
And which child are you talking about? This child with Ms. Stroup or
No,
the other child?
no, Courtney Higginbottom. I was dropping him off at school, and I got pulled over on the way
Tell me
back.
what, you told me already, the child's name with Ms. Stroup?
Kaylin Higginbottom.
Galen.
Yes.
You want to spell it for me?
Kaelan. Same last name.
Galen, okay. And the 9-year-old child, what's his name or her name?
Courtney.
Courtney.
His name Qourtni. Same last name. Oh yeah. And then other thing was, I know I didn't provide any paperwork, but he does have a rare disease that Miss Stroup is aware of because she had to take him to doctor's appointments called Stargardt's disease, which is another reason why at first I didn't agree with the amount that I had to pay monthly because I have to pay out of pocket for his medical insurance.
Okay, let me go back to what you're telling me. The second, I guess, arrest, they held you again, they took you in and you spent the night again, or more than that?
Yeah, you could say the night. It was like a couple of hours, but because it was like
Because of the
I
time
spent,
it was?
yeah, it was like I would say it was a whole day. I'd say 24 hours. Then, yeah.
And then you didn't have to follow up with anything on that, or did you?
So I tried to follow up. Every time I called, I got like I don't know what the people are called when I call them, like the lady that answers the phone. I tried to reset a court date. She gave me a court date. I tried to get on the Zoom call. It didn't work. I called them. They let me know. They said they would reach out to me because they're trying to set dates or something like that. And then I kind of didn't get a call, nor did I know. And I kind of let that one.
There's a chance there's 2 warrants on you or not?
I'm gonna be honest that I do not know. I
Okay,
know I got pulled over that time, and then they were trying to reset it. I haven't received anything in the mail regarding I have any active bench warrants, because I know they normally send it out during like the roundup time period. I didn't receive anything, but I definitely haven't took the time to look either.
okay. So is that the worst you have to being held for the license part? You haven't been arrested for anything else
No, ma'am.
or charged with anything else?
No, ma'am.
What about Child Protective Services? Has anybody had to come investigate you for any child abuse or neglect?
No, ma'am.
When did you get a court order on your child, Courtney?
2016. Hold on. Let me see if I can
Or how old was the child at that point? Do you remember that part?
one. He was born in 2015. He was maybe 1 or 2. I can find that court order. Give me a all right, if you don't mind.
Was it an AG case or was it a private case that came in
It was an
without?
AG case
They
in
probably
Bergen
already
County.
have access to it. So you got custody at that point,
Yes.
when the
Sole
child was
custody.
2?
1, 2, yes.
And from the beginning, it wasn't that mom got custody first and then handed it over, or
No, ma'am.
from the get-go
From the get-go.
in court?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you supposed to be getting child support from her?
I did find child support. That was never a necessity or need.
You didn't
I
ask
just,
for it?
I just wanted joint custody. So she had appointed times, and I had appointed times going from there.
So what does the order say, that you switch the child back and forth?
The orders is same as I requested, 50-50 every other week, every other holiday. Same thing I was requesting with Erica. But
Okay,
the
but
other
that's in the
party,
paperwork. Did you actually, she's just stopped seeing the child at some point?
yeah, she moved to a different city and has a family. Oh yeah, I have the court order like that.
So how
OAG
long
number.
ago has she not been involved in the 9-year-old's life? If you got custody, joint custody, and at the age of 2, what
She
happened?
she just moved. I mean, there's not really anything that can say happened personally. Whatever her choices were, that was her choices, and she'll call him every once in a while.
Okay,
And yeah, she'll talk to him. But she
so
lives
you
in
have him 24/7 right now?
yes, he lives in my mother's house with us. Yes.
But your mother's not on the paperwork that she has custody with you or with you in court with the other mother?
No, ma'am. I can give you the OAG number
That's
and
okay. The AOG can look it up. They probably already saw it, looked it up for me. And nobody's taken it back to court to modify any of the terms. You've got custody of the child
no,
and
ma'am.
possession of the child. Okay. And even for that child or this child, nobody's ever investigated you for any allegations of anything.
No, ma'am.
Um, do you have any history of drug use or abuse or alcohol use or abuse?
No, ma'am.
Not you and Miss Stroup together or separate or anything?
Me, I have no history of alcohol, no DUIs, no drug abuse, no. I'm not saying I don't. I haven't drank before, but I've never been pulled over for it or anything of the such. But
Okay.
no history, like legally history like that.
There's not an issue in your current life that you drink a little bit or drink a lot?
No, ma'am.
So you told me a criminal record, CPS record, and your personal drug or alcohol record. Can you think of anything else that I might be interested in your background that I should know about? Any temper, hard to control your temper, any fights with anybody, physical, any protective orders with adults or anything like that?
Not that I have no paperwork regarding it, and not that I know of. No, ma'am.
Well, you would know because you would have been charged and taken to court probably, or maybe even arrested for it, but no woman has ever said you hit her and
Violent? No, ma'am.
assault,
No, ma'am.
male either, no
No, ma'am.
fights in bars or anything stupid like
I
that?
was no, ma'am. Raised by my mom. I don't believe in hitting women. No,
Okay, well, being squeaky clean, why haven't you fixed the darn
ma'am.
license?
It's I can't say it's anybody's fault but mine, honestly. But my son has Stargardt's. He has blind spots in his eyes, and so it's a lot that I deal with on a daily. Catholic school and stuff like that, private school, just to make sure he. It's just a lot. So
You're
I just
talking about Courtney, the child?
yes, ma'am.
Or Kaylin? Courtney, okay.
Courtney, yes. So with him having a degenerative eye disease and private school being like his best bet and helping my mom and going back and forth and making sure I have a way to work and I just go day by day, honestly, and I just when I see it in the mail, I take attention to it. But it being that I haven't seen it, it just hasn't. It's kind of been on the back burner, and I know that's my fault. So something
Well,
I definitely should have took a hold of. But
it occurs to me that since you and Miss Stroup were together, was the child Courtney living with you all, or was the child with your mother?
No, when me and Stroup were living together for stability and not having my son have multiple addresses like me, my mom, he was going to a school closer to my mother's house, and the schedule I worked didn't benefit with him getting to school and being able to get picked up because I worked later shift. And then Erica's job as well was on the other side, so it didn't benefit. It wasn't really a way for me or her to take him to school, so he stayed with my mother for during that time frame. Yes.
So how long was he not under your roof because you were with, I guess,
Uh,
Stroup and Kaylin,
the the year when me and her lived together.
and that was it? So you got reunited when you moved
Yeah,
back with
moved
your
back to my
mom?
mom's house. Yes.
But Miss Stroup knows about Courtney?
Yes. Yes. Definitely knows about Courtney. Picked up Courtney before. Took him to doctor's appointments. Know he has a degenerative eye disease. Also
Can
told
she
her
say, do you think she can say you're a good father of Courtney, even if you didn't live with him for that year?
I'm gonna
Or,
be honest. I don't know if she would say that anymore. I
okay.
got text messages saying she says that, but with everything that's being held against me all of a sudden, I don't know.
Well, did you forget about him and just never saw him for a whole year because you were busy
No,
over?
I definitely weekends he would come. I would come pick him up. He would go over to the apartment, or she would pick him up. He would come over to the apartment. Um, my mom would drop him off if she needed to. Like it wasn't. I didn't see him for the whole year. It's just that it was beneficial for him to be at her house so he could go to school Monday through Friday.
Okay.
I definitely seen him every week.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out what kind of father you are. You have a history with another child. Well, that kind of helps me a little, but
Oh, I would say if Erica would say anything, I'm a great father. I tend to do what I have to do to make sure my kids are okay. I would hope that's what she would say. Um, but like I said, I can't say that's what she would say. I have text messages of her saying that, but it's kind of all out the window. I got text messages of her saying, "Oh, I would never put you on child support. You're a good father." That's out the window. So that's what I'm
okay.
saying. Like this is so unknown to me as of August when I got a paper in the mail saying that we had to go to Corpus Christi for some child support. I asked her about it. Her verbal words were, "Oh, I'm gonna call them and cancel that. Don't worry about it." And then next thing you know, a I get served with the Lopez. I'm sorry, David Lopez. I'm sorry, I don't know his name off the top of my head.
You got it right.
But I get served with papers randomly at 11 o'clock at night for a court hearing that's a week away. Not even a week, less than a week away. It's literally how it happened.
Okay.
So that's when I say I didn't know was supposed to be having a hearing. I was told that something was going to be canceled because she filed for like medical or health insurance or Medicare or something. So it's automatically filed. And that's what the lady told me when I tried to reach out for a lawyer the first time. It was automatically filed because she filed for like Medicare or something, Medicaid, I don't know, and it was automatically sent. And Erica Stroup herself told me, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll call in have that
Yeah, well,
canceled.
just so you know, yes, that's one way that cases get to the Attorney General's office. Somebody applies for government services and Medicaid for
Right.
the children would be one of them. And so you automatically assign your rights to the state. That's how you get to court, whether the person knows it or not. It's fine print somewhere. If you don't read it, you don't see it, they don't tell you. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter, it still
And
happens by law.
and that's how the first one happened, and that so I know that how it goes, but then the counter sue, like I said, I got the counter sue like
Okay.
4 days before. So I would say I'm a great dad. I try to do my best. I do come through a hardship and you know hard times, and I do forget things, but overall I try my hardest to be the great dad, a great
Okay,
father.
I'm just, I want to talk about you and all the things you've done or not done. If the mediator said that the order said you had no rights, did you get a clue that maybe you should talk to Ms. Stroup or her lawyer to ask for
I've
relief outside of the court order? People,
so
you know,
regarding talking to Miss Stroup, anytime like I talk, I have, and this is also I've text message proof, like it would go left. So I chose not to talk to her because I just didn't, I don't want to fight with his mom. I never wanted to fight with his mom. It's just never been a thing for me. I didn't want to argue. At the end of the day, I just wanted to see my son, and I was told I got no rights. It was kind of downing. I was already mentally in a bad place because of everything that I had to deal with my son's private school and his disease and his doctor's appointments. So it just was a lot on my mental at the moment. So I didn't reach out or to her or the lawyer or anything like that. No.
Your Honor.
yes.
With regards to that, Your Honor, I now remember this case. I did handle this case at one point, and I think Mr. Higginbottom might have misunderstood me, Your Honor. And so what had happened was, Your Honor, he wanted to reset to get an attorney. He didn't want to address anything. And we had talked to that. I explained to him, if we don't address anything, your rights are what basically Miss Stroup says. And I told Mr. Lopez that he wanted to get an attorney. He didn't want to address anything. And that I told Mr. Lopez, he understood what that meant. And Mr. Lopez, again, if I'm wrong, Mr. Lopez, correct me, but Mr. Lopez told me to remind him again that as long as he understands that his parental rights is what Miss Stroup says, since we didn't address that in the temporary orders, is what I relayed to Mr. Higginbottom. So I may not have explained that well enough, but I do remember telling him that since he did not want to move forward, then that meant he's subject to whatever visits Miss Stroup says.
So you were saying technically the order doesn't give him rights, but
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I explained to him that there was nothing listed on there. And so that would be for him to work out with Miss Stroup.
Well, I get that it's stressful in court, and sometimes people hear you and they or they hear you wrong, or they don't follow up or whatever. I've seen so much happen over the years. However, I'm not blaming anybody, either
Right.
Mr. Higginbottom or the state at all by any
Yeah,
means.
no, that's fair. I understand that completely. I definitely misunderstood that wholeheartedly. I didn't know I could reach out to her. I thought it was just if she says no, it's no, and I didn't want to hear a no regarding seeing my son, so I never reached out.
Okay, and I'm pretty sure I listened to all your testimony, but if I thought I heard right, was you were significantly involved with a baby so that for the year you lived together and y'all had to work and you took different shifts and you stayed home with the baby and she stayed home with the baby off and on to make it work. Is that what I heard?
Yes, ma'am.
And that it ended when you separated.
When she chose to move back to her father's, that's when that ended. She wanted to take him. We still had the same schedule, but she wanted to take him, but she would drop him off Monday through Thursday at that time before he actually went to daycare, because there was a time frame where he wasn't in daycare that she worked at. So she would bring him and drop him off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and pick him up after daycare and then take him back home with her.
So that was, I guess you've been separated for a couple of years. If you said May or June of 2023, almost 2 years. So did that happen the first year of separation?
That happened the first year of separation.
And the
The
second year,
second
did
year,
it change?
the
Okay.
second year, that's when he was it was like the first year, closer to the end of the first year. Then she put him in the daycare, and we agreed upon her, because she works there, it would be the best. She gets a discount I'd rather him be near her anyway if it was a daycare. Because we both didn't really agree with daycare because of germs and stuff. So I was cool with it. She was cool with it. Put him in daycare. She got half off, however that went.
So
And
what kind of possession did you have outside the daycare?
outside of the daycare, that's when it was every other weekend because she was working Monday through Friday. I was still working Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. So he was in daycare during the times I would watch him. So that's when I took it up on myself. Okay, well, if I'm not watching him, I could get a different job and make some more money so I can get the things I need for him. And that's when I got my job Monday through Friday.
And so you got the second and fourth weekends, or the first, third, and fifth weekends, or
It
something else?
wasn't like the second and fourth. It was just kind of like every other weekend. So I can't remember the exact day kind of it started, but when he went to daycare, it was just like, okay, well, we'll do every other weekend because she's with him at daycare.
And what I'm curious
and
now is, when did it stop?
it didn't stop until the last time I dropped him off in December at the QT, which would be, I just had that date.
Is that when the lawsuit was starting to be filed, or or had court dates coming up, or the lawsuit had nothing to do with it?
I don't think I don't know if that's the thing. I don't know if the lawsuit had nothing to do with it. It was kind of like, I was told it was filed to the attorney general. Again, she said, "Oh, don't worry about that. I'll get that canceled," and that
Okay.
was it. So the last time, as far as the every other weekend, um, it was December 8th. That was Sunday. She said, "Hey, you think you could get him ready by noon so I can take him to his friend's B-Day party?" I said, "Eating right now. What time you get him?" She said 12. I said, "Okay. Am I meeting you?" She said, "Whichever is easier." And that was, I would say, the last time I had him for the entire weekend.
Okay, at any point in time, whether you're babysitting while you were together, or babysitting for the 2 years, or had the child for the 2 years, during the period you said you had him, did she ever complain about your care of the child?
No,
Not even small things. You didn't change the diaper on time. The
no.
rash.
That was
Didn't change the child's clothes. They're dirty. They've been on too long. And none of
no,
that.
ma'am.
Not even small things like that. And no scratches, no bruises, no anything that she might have thought maybe
She would ask me about
watching.
scratches that he would come back with, but again, he has an older brother and they play rough. They play rough. He has a cousin, a female cousin. She's like 4. On the weekends, they play rough. Like, they be outside running around and he gets scratches from that. He also would scratch himself in his sleep from scratching, but nothing like out of the like, oh, hey, are you putting your hands on him? Nothing like that.
Or that he had to take him to a doctor or an emergency room for?
Nothing like that, besides like his health that we're dealing with regarding his nose and congestion, but nothing like that, no.
But as far as you're aware, or that you remember, she didn't accuse you of doing anything that was
No,
not.
ma'am.
Okay.
Nor did I.
Okay, it's important to me to hear both sides. I'm gonna hear Ms. Stroups in a minute. Ms. Coates, do you have any follow-up cross-exam for Mr. Higginbottom?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Lopez, do you have any further cross-exam at this time, or you want to recall him later? Either way.
I just have 2 follow-up, Your Honor.
Sure.
First, Mr. Higginbottom, you just stated that you didn't know, as of the time of the January 14th hearing, where you were told that you didn't have any rights, that you didn't know that you could contact Ms. Stroup to work out a visitation. Is that correct?
Yes, I completely misunderstood what Ms. Coates told me, yes.
But that was your understanding at the time, that you couldn't contact Ms. Stroup, or?
Yes.
Okay. Did you contact Ms. Stroup back in February regarding request for visitation to see your child Kalen for his birthday?
Yes, I called and said, "Hey, can I FaceTime him?" Or I texted her and said, let me see. I said, "Whenever he wakes up, FaceTime me." At
So
7:27 a.m.
So you said to the court that you understood that you couldn't make contact, but then you still made contact.
On his birthday, yes, of course.
Birthday. Okay. For visitation or communication.
Yes.
And my second follow-up is that you stated that your other child, Courtney, has Stargardt disease.
Yes, sir.
Is that, in your opinion or understanding of that disease, is that a pretty serious disease?
Yes, a rare genetic disease, degeneration of the eyes. Yes.
And you have also stated that you are the primary caregiver for Courtney.
Yes.
So would you also say that it's important to be able to have a valid driver's license to be able to drive him around in, you know, in the event of an emergency or something dealing with that issue?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, then let me have, I guess, State, you're gonna call the next witness, or did you want to defer? I don't care how you do it, but we need to
Can
hear
I
from
add?
you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, let me finish up with you, sir.
Yes,
What?
Oh, because the question he asked regarding the driver's license, prior to that, again, me and Erica were together for 6 years. So she did a lot of the picking him up along with my mom regarding his disease. So we only wasn't together recently for the last year to two. Prior to that, she would take and meet my mom at appointments while I would be at work regarding Courtney's Stargardt's. That's all.
Okay, then did you want to call Ms. Stroup, Ms. Coates, or are you deferring?
I will defer, Your Honor.
Okay, and reserve your right for examination. Okay, Mr. Lopez, you want to go ahead and move on and call your client?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Stroup. Would you please tell the court your full name for the record?
Stroup.
And without disclosing where you live and the address of where you live, does anyone else live with you at that residence?
Yes,
And how long have you lived there?
I've lived here for about 2 years.
And specifically, when did you separate from your relationship with Mr. Higginbottom?
We like living together, living wise. We did separate in May 17th of 2023.
And how old was your child when you did separate?
He had just he was about 3 months. I want to say 3 months.
Okay, and how old is your child right now specifically?
He is 2 years.
So Mr. Higginbottom has described the situation of how he was taking care of the child when you guys were together and then after you separated. Do you feel that that characterization and the details of that caring for your child, were they accurate?
A little bit.
A little bit accurate?
Yes.
During that time, did he have a driver's license?
No, sir.
When the time that Mr. Higginbottom suggested that it was detailing that he lived with you for that year where he was also supposed to be in possession of his child, Courtney, did that other child come to live with you?
Not really.
How often would you say that that child, Courtney, was in Mr. Higginbottom's possession while you all were together?
Honestly, it would probably be maybe every other weekend or maybe one time a month. Like a 1 weekend out of the month.
Okay. And when the child was with the two of you, who took care of that child for the most part?
Me.
And can you explain how you took care of the child and what responsibilities and duties that you had during that time?
I made sure that he was fed, he was ate, all the groceries were in the house, and made sure he had taken care of like hygiene wise, like taking a shower, getting ready for bed. Anytime that I had to take him to school, I would make sure that I had to take him to school. And then anytime that his mom, like grandma would contact me, I would make sure that he had to go back over there, or I would take him out of her possession. I mean, it was always mainly just me and grandma taking care of Courtney.
Is there a reason why Mr. Higginbottom did not participate in the rights and those duties of taking care of his child during that time?
Either A, he was working so much, B, extracurricular activities, or he was just at home sleeping all the time.
Can you elaborate on what you mean by extracurricular activities?
He would go to the gym. He would go play basketball, or it was always every Tuesdays or Wednesdays, he would go roller skating.
And that was a regular
Yeah,
activity for
it was
Mr.
always
Higginbottom?
every week.
And was Courtney, the child, his child, in your possession or his mother's
He was
possession?
in my possession during the weekends. He would go with me because I would have like a side, I don't want to say a side job, but like it was a side little mini job. I would DoorDash. Courtney's always with me, or he would be with his grandma.
So you're saying that when you would actually have work as a door dasher, you would have to take Courtney, the child, with you?
Yes.
Now, since your separation 2 years ago, has Mr. Higginbottom helped to support Kaylin financially in any way?
No.
Has he offered to help support Kaylin financially?
No. I would ask him, like I would ask him, hey, he's running low on this. Hey, is there any chance that you can help me out with it? Or like me and him, we would like talk on seeing to split the daycare. He would say yes, 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 but it was never done.
Okay. So you would say that since Kaylin's birth, that you have been the one to provide for Kaylin's necessities, food and clothes primarily?
Yes.
Would you also say that since your child's birth, that you have been the one to take care of, or to take Kaylin to doctor's appointments?
Yes.
Did Mr. Higginbottom ever take Kaylin to a doctor appointment?
No, only maybe 3 times.
Outside of those requests that you would make, did Mr. Higginbottom ever offer to pay any of those child expenses upon being notified that he had previously agreed?
No.
So he never made any payments to you?
No.
Do you believe it is in your child's best interest that you and Mr. Higginbottom be joint managing conservators of the child, that you be granted the exclusive right to determine the primary residence of your child, and the decisions regarding education be exclusive to you, and that all other rights be independent?
Yes.
And do you believe that is in the child's best interest as well to have child support be set at the amount that the Office of Attorney General stated earlier of the $366 plus medical and dental payments to start May 1st?
Yes.
Do you agree with Mr. Higginbottom not being able to take the child from daycare at this time?
Yes.
Withdraw the child from daycare? Do you agree to using app close
Yes.
for all communications with Mr. Higginbottom? Okay. And do you think it's in the child's best interest that Mr. Higginbottom have supervised visitation for about 2 hours on 2 Saturdays per month, preferably the second and fourth Saturday, to be supervised by you or another mutually agreed upon party until he is able to show proof of a valid driver's license?
Yes.
And are you willing to drive the child to those locations, agreed upon locations for the supervised visitations?
Yes.
Is there anything else that you feel the court should know regarding the best interests of your child as it relates to Mr. Higginbottom having supervised visitation, Mr. Higginbottom's history of driving without a valid license, your personal knowledge of witnessing him driving without a driver's license, and anything of those nature?
Yes. Well, I don't have any more questions. Sorry.
No, but do you have anything to elaborate on that as to his ability to be a father, some other past histories that would inform the judge as to why you should be granted the relief that you are requesting?
It's just mainly really like he's been driving in a vehicle without a valid driver's license. He's been picking up his son from the daycare. He's driven to the EMT appointments. I mean, there was multiple situations that he has been driving the vehicle, but also had other passengers that had valid driver's license. That's just the only problem that I see, that if he were to get pulled over, I would have to be called to come pick up the child.
Were you aware that he may have warrants out for his arrest at this time?
Yes.
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, State have any follow-up?
Yes, Your Honor. All right, Mr. Higginbottom testified that there have been times where you have allowed him to drive without a driver's license. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. And what, do you remember those times? Were they like emergencies and you couldn't drive, or why?
Well, the only time was when I had just got out of labor with my son. Other times he would just casually just get the keys and we would all just go in the vehicle and we'd just drive. He's always mainly the person that's driving. And sometimes when he's tired, I will drive.
Okay. So were these always the time you two were in a relationship, or have you let him pick up your child knowing he doesn't have a driver's license?
I'm sorry, repeat the question one more time.
The times that you two were, when he was the one doing most of the driving, was this when you two were in a relationship, or has there been times when you two have separated that you let him pick up your child with no driver's license?
It was both times.
Okay. Has he done something recently that has made you concerned now with regards to his driver's license all of a sudden?
No.
And then I had previously asked him if the judge was to grant a standard possession order, if there was a certain language that said if he did not have somebody else driving with a valid license, an adult with a valid license, that he could not have visits. Would that make you comfortable? So that would mean like he can't be the one in the driver's seat and then there's somebody in the passenger. The driver has to be somebody with a valid driver's license, otherwise he forfeits his visits. Is that something you're considering, or you are just asking for the supervised?
I'm just asking for the supervised.
And why is it that these supervised visits are only 2 hours? He's had him longer.
Why am I requesting for the 2 hour supervised?
Yes, why only 2 hours, and why only 2 Saturdays if he's had the child longer?
Because he stated that he only works Monday through Friday, so he's at work and weekends. I'm off on weekends. He's off on weekends. Another reason why is because he has been driving with my son in the vehicle with a suspended license after he was told that he was not supposed to be driving in the vehicle with my son in the car.
Okay, but if you're both off on Saturdays and Sundays, why can't he have more hours if you're willing to drive?
Because you're taking time out of my day to go all the way over there to drop him off.
And you have an issue with his mother?
No.
So his mom can't be the supervisor then, if that's the problem?
It's not really towards that. His mom has made a comment, more towards like a threat, but like a comment saying that because I had to go drop him off over there at their residence because dad was working late. Grandma had made a comment and said that ain't nobody gonna beat you up, that nobody is at the house was gonna fight me. And that took upon me to where we've never had any issues.
Okay, you said she said no one was going to beat you up?
Yes.
Okay, so then she hasn't threatened you.
Yes.
So then why can't she be the supervisor?
Because they all live in the same household.
Are you saying that if she's the supervisor, she's just going to let her son drive without a license?
Yes.
The same way you let him drive without a license?
At the time I have a valid driver's license. The vehicle was under my name, but he also had a vehicle. He had a motorcycle and was still driving without a valid driver's license.
but he testified that his mom has his driver's license and he has his own car. So what's the difference and problem now? Not that I'm encouraging, I'm not that I'm encouraging that he shouldn't have a driver's license, but why is it all of a sudden a problem?
Because I didn't know at the time that he was still driving, because even though he, as he said and claimed that he has not been driven, that he has not been driven, that the only time that he's ever driven was when he went to our son's ENT appointment. There's also multiple proof that he is still driving he is still driving in the vehicle.
Have you ever met his girlfriend?
No.
Okay. Even if you haven't met her physically, has she said anything maybe to you, like via electronic, like Facebook or text messages, anything that may cause issues?
No.
Okay. With regards to the rights, I believe your lawyer said you wanted to make the exclusive rights for his education and possible healthcare. I may have misheard, but is there a reason you don't want to include Mr. Higginbottom in those when it comes to those decisions?
So basically we're happy with, as far as educational, he's comfortable where he is. He's learning, he's developing really good. His father has also made a statement and said that he is not able to drive because of the location where he goes to school at. He wants to move him to a different location. I was perfectly fine with him if he had found a daycare that's within our budget range and within our distance range, and he has yet to gotten back to me in regards of where he wanted to move him to. He told me to find the daycare. He told me to find where he thinks that Kaylin should go. But I'm not the one asking for him to be changed to a different daycare if his father is the one that's asking to change him.
Okay. So that's why you want to be the one to determine, but because this, I don't know if you know, it means that when it comes to your son's education, let's say if he needed tutoring, you would need to talk with Mr. Higginbottom. Are you saying you want to not be able to do that? Not confer with him when it comes to your child's education?
When it comes to trying to come to an agreement, his father is always making comments in regards saying, well, I want him to go here, I want him to go there. It was never like meet in the middle, because I told him, if you want him to be removed from somewhere else, you need to find the thing that you want to find to put him in. Because like I've always said, I'm always doing the job, I'm always making the appointments, I'm always making the choices, the decision and everything. I always offered him to make the choices, but he chose to not get back in touch with me, or it would just get brushed to the side and never get back to touch.
Well, when you two are joint managing conservator, that just means you must consult Mr. Higginbottom. Does not mean you have to necessarily listen to him. You just need to be able to consult with him, get his opinion, and you make the final decision. That's what joint managing conservators mean, meaning you have the exclusive right to determine where the child lives, but you have to at least consult him on certain things. That way he's at least notified of what's going on. And if he has an issue, then it's on him. It's his burden to, let's say, if he thinks braces aren't necessary, that's for him to go spend money on and determine whether or not it's necessary. So knowing that, are you okay sharing the right to talk, consulting him about education?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Lastly, Ms. Stroup, with regards to his son, I know you were saying his other child that you were mostly the one involved, but I mean, was he an involved father with his other child?
No.
So he just never hung out with his child?
It was very little.
And would you say that they had a good relationship? At least was Courtney excited to see Mr. Higginbottom?
Um, yes and no. Like, yes and no.
How would you describe the relationship? Was,
Courtney would always try to get his dad's attention to, like, for instance, he had built something and his dad was like, okay, I'll look in a minute. He didn't look to give him attention. Other times, sorry, other times when it comes to like helping him out with like fixing his bike, it would take his dad a few days to get to fixing his bike. Um, Everything else, it was always, hey, grandma. It was always grandma. Grandma was always the one giving him the attention. Grandma was always the one helping him out. Grandma was always the one helping out with homework, everything. Dad was just, it would take him days to get to give his son attention.
do you know what their relationship is like now? Do you know if Mr. Higginbottom
No,
has,
no,
you don't?
no.
Did you used to let Mr. Higginbottom take your child without you after you two separated?
No.
Okay. Did his mom ever pick up your son without Mr. Higginbottom?
Yes.
Did your child come back in fairly good condition? There wasn't no diaper rashes, no bruises or anything?
He would always have like a few scratches. I would always contact Dejon in regards of like what happened, why does he have these little scratch marks. Another situation is he would always come back home smelling like smoke.
Do you know who the smoker is in the home or?
Um, Everybody in the household. I know Dejon vapes. Grandma smokes, and I'm pretty sure his brother, not his brother, Dejon's brother smokes as well.
Has there ever been times where either his mother or Mr. Higginbottom has put your child at danger, let's say like speeding, left him alone, walked away at a park and the child got scared for a moment? Has there ever been any situations like that?
No.
Okay. How far are you from Mr. Higginbottom?
About maybe 25, 30 minutes.
And your child turns 3 next year, correct? In 2026?
Yes.
Your Honor, no further questions.
Okay, let's see, Mr. Higginbottom, you're the next person in line for cross-examination. You can ask questions of Ms. Stroup. You can't get into an argument with her. You can't argue with her answers she just gave. You can't call her names. I don't want any ugliness here between the two of y'all, but you do have the right to cross-examine any witnesses, so that would include Ms. Stroup. Do you have any specific questions that you think you need to ask that I haven't heard the answers to yet?
I do have some specific questions that I would like to ask, and I think you may have heard the incorrect answers.
Okay, well, you can't make her testify your way. You're gonna have to
No,
let
yeah,
her answer her
I just
way.
want to ask the same. I just want to reiterate the questions and
You have the
ask.
right, and then I know you're not a lawyer, sometimes you need to know, or I like to tell people, a good way to start questions, isn't it true that? That's a good question and not, and then let her answer, don't stop her from answering and keep, or
Yes,
badger her or anything like that, okay?
ma'am.
Let's start now.
Miss Erica Stroup, in the times of you watching Courtney, did he ask to go with you, or you just got him and took him? Was it him asking you, or him wanting to be with you for the 2 years that you were around him?
I'm sorry, say that question again.
Did he ask to go with you when you DoorDash, like you said?
Yes, he would ask me to go DoorDash, or sometimes he'll just be like, where are you going? I'll tell him where I'm going, and I will always ask your mom for permission to take him with me.
Okay. And how long were you involved in Courtney's life in our relationship?
I want to say since he was 3, turning 3, I want to say.
So how long would that be? A year, 2
Oh,
years?
for like 6, 7 years.
Okay, thank you. And that's being actively involved from the time you met me to the time that we broke up, correct?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Well, then I've got one, like, okay, can't be 7 years, because if the child's 3 and he's only, I mean, the child's 9 and you knew him at 3, it can't go as far as 7 years, maybe 6 years, but that would include the last 2 years of separation. You've been actively involved with Courtney since y'all separated?
Yes, like okay. He would bring Courtney around. Like I would be with Dijon all the time, and he would bring me around.
By
During
Dijon, you're talking about Mr. Higginbottom, right? What do you mean you were always with him?
Dijon, like I was always with Dijon, like when we were like together, because Dijon had lived with me, and then I would go with him to his mom's house. I would see him. We would all hang out. We would take him with me. And then I want to say during this COVID year, kind of like messes up with everybody else. During COVID year, I want to say we probably did not see him for like I have not seen him for maybe a year. I want to say the max.
During COVID or since just?
Like during COVID, so like before and after, I want to say.
Okay, both of you agreed that you separated in May. You specifically remember the day of 2023, so that's almost 2 years. Have you been actively involved with Courtney this last 2 years?
No, I have not.
So when you said you've been actively involved or knowing him since for 6 or 7 years, that would mean through now. So I'm trying to figure out, you didn't mean that then. You meant more like
Yeah,
4 or 5 or 4, 3 or 4.
yeah, 3 or 4.
I'm trying to figure out how this man's so bad he shouldn't have the child alone, that he's capable of endangering the child. That's what I need to hear. And you said that, I thought you said that, no, you didn't think he was going to actually harm the child, although there have been a few scratches or what have you, but none of those scratches elevated to the level of like serious concern where you had to go to a doctor or hospital or an ER or anything.
It was just like paper cut scratch, where like he
Okay.
scratched himself. I mean, it's nothing major.
And he may have been a bad significant other or boyfriend or whatever, but do you know that child support and visitation are not attached to each other, that he might have the right to visit whether or not he pays, and you're required to let him visit whether or not he pays? You understand that those two things do not equal each other?
Yes.
Because you made it sound like he was a bad parent by not supporting or helping support the child, and maybe that's the reason for supervision. Are you saying that at all or not?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Well, you're definitely saying the driver's license is a big deal. That's your main reason for not wanting him to have anything but supervised visits?
Yes.
But even you allowed him to drive without a license,
Well,
I think you already admitted it.
I wasn't aware of those times because I was working. So like when he come to pick him up, I'm expecting him to have somebody with him to drive in the vehicle, but every time when he leaves, it's always just him by himself driving in the vehicle.
So what if I didn't just say, oh, you go drop off and then you don't know what happens? It's like, no, that he needs to show up with somebody and somebody else be in the driver's seat when he drives up. So you know that child is not being driven by him. What's wrong with that picture?
There's nothing wrong with that, bitches. It's just the fact that he can literally just leave at any time, any point in time, because he did state that he does own a vehicle. And you're telling me you own a vehicle, but you don't drive a vehicle. You own a vehicle to drive a vehicle. And like I said numerous of times, he has been driving in his vehicle that he says he owned to the daycare to pick up my son, to pick up our son. And other times when it comes to me coming to pick him up, he's still driving in the vehicle with our son.
The last time you saw that was when?
March 28th for our son's ENT appointment, he was driving in the vehicle.
No, when was the last time he drove a vehicle with your son in it?
It had to be the last week of December or the first weekend of January when it was his time for his weekend.
And he showed up driving with nobody else with him,
Yes, ma'am.
and you handed the child over?
I did not hand him the child. He came to pick up the child while I was working.
Somebody handed him the child?
He can access the daycare because he was on the daycare pickup list. He can go into the facility and come pick up our son and take him off.
And you didn't put the restriction that unless he had a valid, somebody with a valid license, that he should not pick up the child? You didn't have that restriction on there? If you knew he could show up and take the child, you knew he might be driving, why wouldn't you have told the daycare, don't let him because he doesn't have a valid driver
Well,
license?
we were in the middle of process of court situations, so like I wasn't aware that he's not allowed. I wasn't aware that he was not allowed to come pick up the child. If I was told that he was not allowed to come pick up the child, then I would have been taking him off.
No, you're getting it wrong too. He didn't know, and you didn't know. There are just no orders. It doesn't mean there's an order that he cannot pick up the child. It's just y'all didn't agree to anything because you didn't know to talk to each other to try to resolve it on your own. So I'm still asking why it's okay to put him as a valid person to pick up the child when you know he doesn't have a driver's license and use it as a reason to keep him from having the child. Why you wouldn't have said something to your employer? I assume it's the daycare you work at or not? Or no, maybe it's.
Well, the daycare does ask for IDs, but the daycare they can't see if your driver's license valid. That's the issue.
So why wouldn't you have just not put him as a person to pick up if he knew he was gonna have that issue with picking up the child with no license? I mean, you could restrict people from picking up the child, I assume, since you're the one that put the child there.
Yes, I understand that, but me thinking that I would think he would be a smarter person to bring someone with him that can drive the vehicle for him to get out of the car and go pick up the child and take him with him. As long as, I mean, in my opinion, I'm thinking he could have had somebody with him. But again,
Well-
I can't leave my job to go watch him take the child and leave the premises.
I'm not saying that, but to me, that's a problem with relationships. And I see a lot of problem relationships because the people that can work things out don't come to court. They work them out. And that's okay because there's some things that you are far apart on and you can't work out. So somebody has to come hear it and see it. And that's how we do it in a civil society. You come to court and the court tells you what should happen. But I'm trying to figure out why both of you were wrong. He was totally in the wrong by driving all the darn time with no license and not doing anything about it. I need you to hear that loud and clear, Mr. Higginbottom. So if you want anything more, you're going to be up in a district court later with a referral for a final hearing. You need to figure that out because that's a big risk that you take if you get stopped, if you're driving and they check that out and then you end up in jail. And who are they going to call? CPS for your child to go immediately somewhere else and be scared to death? Or if they can't find mom right away? Yeah, you're risking that and you shouldn't have done that. But you, ma'am, having known that all that time, you still allowed it. And maybe he thinks, oh, it's no big deal. She let me do it and she knows about it and she's still letting me do it. Well, that's wrong too. You should have stopped him in his tracks a long time ago, especially when you were with him. I get emergencies. I get people do what they have to do and you have to survive. So you have to get to work and make money to pay bills and feed yourselves and your families. I get all that, but man, you're also running a risk and you'd be running a risk too if you were in the car with him and he got stopped and he had no driver's license and he got hauled off and there's a drama at the scene or whatever. I'm not saying he's definitely not right, but I'm not saying you're right just because you're the one with the driver's license. You still let him. That's partially wrong. You shouldn't have let him. So I'm trying to figure out why, if he's a danger, such a danger, you just really believe he's going to violate the court orders and something terrible is going to happen. That's what you're thinking, the worst case scenario. Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
And if I yelled at him that he can't drive, because if anybody gets any kind of proof that he violated a court order, well, then that's not going to go well. Because nobody wants to be the judge that let the guy go and then something bad happened and I didn't foresee it. Well, just trying to figure out, and just because, I mean, I hardly ever see cases where dads get custody and they really have had the child for a while, even if it hadn't been the best. But if you have a family support group, that's great. That's the best thing a child can have. But I'm going to hear from him in a minute again. You just don't give him any credit for having custody of Courtney and doing what he needed to do for him because either you or his mother did it all. That's what you're trying to tell me?
Yes.
Totally all. Every single bit of it. He didn't have anything to do with it.
No. Grandma always made sure that he was in school. Grandma enrolled him in school. Grandma had all the doctor's appointment situated for him. Grandma took him to every single appointment. Grandma took care of everything. And then whenever
And
she
you've been there the entire time to know that? You really
Yes.
do know that 100%, even though you don't live there, haven't seen him for 2 years or whatever? Courtney?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Any further examination? That was your witness that we started with, Mr. Lopez. Do you want to recall her? Or just follow up, actually?
Yeah, I reserve my my comments for.
Okay. Okay, so state had already deferred to you. Did you have any other witnesses to present or have any other kind of documentary evidence or anything else, Mr. Lopez?
I don't at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, does state have anything else to present? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Was that a no?
No, Your Honor, we don't have anything else.
Okay, so state rest and mother rest. Mr. Higginbottom, you've heard everything else. You have the right to reply or respond. If you want to do that, you can. If you don't, or do you have any other witnesses to call? Tell me what you want to do at this time about closing up your case.
As far as right to respond, what am I responding to?
Well, everything you've heard here, everything you want to defend yourself from, everything you want to tell me to persuade me why I should do what you want versus what she wants. That's your job.
Yeah, I don't have nothing to defend outside of the fact that I had a suspended license, should have took care of it. And that's about it. That's the only thing.
Well, you
Again,
don't wanna-
I had a good support group. I mean, at the time she was my girlfriend. So yes, she was watching Courtney when I was at work. Like she said, I did work a lot of hours. As well as my mother watching him and taking him to school. Because I work a lot of hours, but outside of that, I mean, I don't really have anything to defend because I mean, I take care of my son. Like you said, it would be hard for a court to give me sole custody as a father and not the mother at the age that he was.
Well, I mean, you just heard her say that you had nothing to do with Courtney, that your mother and her took care of him the whole time. You want to respond to that?
Yeah, I think that's a lie as well because again, I met her in 2017. He was born in 2015. I got the court order before she was around. And then she also didn't meet him for another year or two. I didn't even bring her around for another year or two when he was a while. So, yeah, that's why I asked her how long has she been in his relation life.
Well, is it true that you went off to play basketball or skating or whatever else you said you did while you didn't work? And
I would go play basketball and skating, but I took my son to my games with me at times before she knew me, before she was around. Skating, my son goes to school during the weekdays. Skating was at 7 o'clock at night, and it was an adult skate night. So he would be asleep by 8 o'clock. And he would be sleeping in my mother's house and not on the weekends. There was maybe a skate event, but again, these skate events aren't during the day. They're at night when he's sleeping. So
anything else you want to say?
That's really it. I mean, yeah,
Well,
she watched him. Yeah, he went with her times that he would ask me, he would ask my grandma if he can go with Erica. And of course, she's my significant other in that time frame. So there wouldn't be any reason that he would not be able to go. That's my support system. Fine. That's what I think. That's my support system. She's my significant other. So as if she had a kid, I would be her support system. So it was kind of like one of those, that's a relationship thing rather than just, oh, I'm taking care of your kid type thing. So
how can I fix the thing, or how can I be persuaded that you're not going to violate a court order that says you should not be driving a car in which a child is in?
I haven't violated my first court order. I wouldn't violate another court order to lose my rights to see my child because that's all I want to do is have time with my child now.
And if I made it so you had to go pick up the child and so she had to observe if somebody else was with you driving and then come back the same way, you could abide by that?
I can abide by that wholeheartedly. I can have my girlfriend take me as she did prior because, again, like she stated, she didn't see who was in the car with me when I got him the last time, which was my girlfriend. My mother also can drive me as well, but I can do that. Yes, ma'am.
But you get that it's not just for pickup and drop-offs, it's the whole darn time that you're with him,
Yeah.
that you cannot
Yeah.
ever drive alone. You cannot ever
whole,
drive if he's in the
whole
child. is in
time with
custody.
him, without him, I need to be dropped off and picked up. Yes, ma'am.
And even if he's not in the car,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
if she knows you're driving Courtney without a license, that would impact this decision too, because I don't think you should have any kid in a car if there's a chance you could be stopped and you could be arrested if there's a warrant out there for you. And
I
that
should be behind the wheel, Your Honor, and I agree. And like I said, that's my fault and stupidity and not getting that situated in a time frame, but it'll get situated now.
there's times I did believe the guy and let the child go, and then something stupid happened that shouldn't have happened because they didn't obey a court order. And I've got to tell you that does happen. People do what they want to do when they think they're right, and they're mad at the
Yeah,
judge for whatever they did, and blah blah blah. So
wholeheartedly agree. But I've never been that quote unquote dumb guy, as you would say. But I just want to see my son at the end of the day and have a time frame I can see my son rather than 4 hours out of 31 days. I just didn't agree with that. But if that's what it was, I'm just have to take what I can get right now, because that's all I want to do is see my son. It has nothing to do with anything. I'm not a harmful father or person. Never harmed her either in the time we were together. So I'm just not harmful. I've never been harmful. I've always been a father. Yes, I work a lot, but that's what's needed. I had to do that. I worked full-time job and was a full-time college student when she met me. I
tell
did
me your
that.
work hours.
My work hours are 8 to 5 currently, Monday through Friday.
What do you normally do on Friday nights?
Friday nights, either hanging out with Courtney because he's here, or him and his little cousin running around outside, drawing chalk on the ground, or riding their bikes, or the little hoverboard thing that he has. If I have a game, we go to the game. My girlfriend and him we get in the car and we go.
What time does your mother get off work?
My mother's retired.
So she's always available, or does she have
She's
things to
always
do that she can't be your driver or
always
limousine driver?
available. She's always been available. She was available in the time of me and Erica being in a relationship, as she knows as well.
Do you have any idea what Kaylin's hours are as far as wake up and bedtime and any of that?
I did used to have that when I had access to the daycare thing. I would know what time he would get to daycare, and I'm pretty sure she woke up maybe an hour or two before that to get ready. But now I'm gonna still go with the same thing. So he probably wakes up about 6:45, 6:30, 6:45-ish, depending on her time that she has to clock in, and maybe goes to sleep around 8, 8:30, maybe 9 at the latest if he's a little fussy. But he's been like that since he was born. A little congested here and there. But again, I don't know that neither, because that's not being communicated to me sent for X amount of months. So
And if I ordered you to take care of your suspended license, to do whatever you had to do to get it into effect, you would do that?
yes, ma'am.
It still amazes me that you haven't tried or even.
It's not that I haven't tried. I have, and I would get caught up in, like I said, the Star Guards thing, having to get him situated for school and private school. I'd get caught up because I would have to do that because my mom she can't sign the paperwork. I have to sign it. So I would get caught up in that and trying to make sure I have money to pay for his private school, which is, I pay for that as private school. So having the money to pay for that, I have to work. It would just be a lot, but it's something I definitely should have gotten done. I'm not saying I shouldn't have had it done. It should have been done a long time ago, prior to all of that. But it goes back to when me and her in a relationship. She may say she doesn't, but she knows the reasons why and behind the things that may or may not have happened. But if she doesn't want to admit to it, then I can't control that.
Okay, well, as much as you have to work, and I know you have to support households, however, you're endangering your children by not having that license. If nobody's
Yes,
around,
ma'am.
you're the only one, and you have to go somewhere, anything could happen, anything.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
it could make things a lot worse, Mr. Higginbottom.
I agree. I understand
Okay.
wholeheartedly.
Anything else you want to say, or is that it?
No, that's it, ma'am.
Okay, I guess I need to hear it. It's been a while. Closing arguments, that was Mr. Higginbottom's closing argument. Ms. Coates, you want to start, followed by Mr. Lopez, and then I'll resolve this matter.
Your Honor, may I just ask Mr. Higginbottom one question, and then it may also apply to Mr. Lopez. I don't know if it's
That would be
changed
fine.
after this.
That would be
Mr.
fine.
Mr. Higginbotham,
Yes, ma'am.
now that we've proceeded forward and you've had an opportunity to talk to the judge, are you still asking that this go forward to district, or are you asking that this remain here in front of Judge Madrigal?
It can remain here in front of Judge Montreal. That's fine with me. I just, as long as my side and her side was heard and everything was asked, I'm fine with that. That was my only issue because I felt like I wasn't being heard.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Your Honor, I just wanted to make sure.
You know,
Yes,
it
Your
didn't
Honor.
occur to me who wanted it, or maybe you did mention that, but okay. Did you have
Yeah.
any further for Mr. Higginbottom, Ms. Coates?
No, Your Honor, no. Mr. Higginbottom had been the one to request it. So I don't know if Mr. Lopez is still going to want to do district, but I just wanted to confirm with Mr. Higginbottom because he did indicate he wanted district beforehand. So
Yeah, well, I try to do my job and keep these cases, especially if they're both pro se. Now here we have one lawyer or two with AG. However, if I get three, chances are it shouldn't be in my court. That would be too lengthy of a hearing. I do what I can with the time I have. However, Mr. Lopez, I guess let me ask you, are you asking for a referral, or was it just based on Mr. Higginbottom's request?
Based on Mr. Higginbottom, we didn't object because we certainly want to get some resolution today. If it's temporary orders, which I think is probably
Sure.
appropriate, then we're okay to stay here.
Okay, well, that'll, I'm always happy when people don't want to be with me if we've got lengthy hearings. However, I'd rather keep this off my district judge's desk if I can, because that's my job. So after having heard what I heard, I guess there will be no referral. Let's start there. Now, the rest of the closing, Ms. Coates.
yes, Your Honor, we're asking that you grant the agreed terms, which was a child support of $366 starting May 1st, $38 for dental starting May 1st, $102 for medical starting May 1st. Ms. Stroup is to carry the health and dental through her employer. Parties are joint managing conservators with the provision that Mr. Higginbottom cannot withdraw the child from the daycare that he's currently enrolled at close. I did not get to ask, Your Honor, about a geographic restriction. We'll defer to Your Honor with regards to that. And then we'll defer to Your Honor with regards to the visitation as well. And then I believe the issue of mom wants the exclusive right to determine education. That will be up to, not that will be up to, but we'll defer to Your Honor with regards to that. I didn't hear any reason for a non-disclosure, but obviously at this time, app close would probably be the more important or the best tool for now.
Okay, did you actually plead a non-disclosure? Is this marked for that or not? Yeah.
Yes.
But you don't know who or for what reason?
No, Your Honor. And in our temporary order, there was no, it said no finding of of harassment in the temporary order. So, I hadn't heard anything, at least with regards to Mr. Higginbottom or to his mother. Miss Stroup didn't testify that the mom or the girlfriend or Mr. Higginbottom had harassed her in any form. So I didn't hear any of that.
Okay, well then let me defer to Mr. Lopez if you want to give me your closing argument and including those issues that maybe were not so fleshed out, the geographic restriction and a non-disclosure.
Sure, Your Honor. I'll let me just start with that. A lot has been discussed today regarding the past consent of my clients allowing Mr. Higginbottom to drive without a driver's license. But that past consent does not absolve him from the present circumstances. It's the right decision right now to require him to have a valid driver's license to be able to exercise any type of visitation. Instead of focusing on the past consent, we need to focus on the present consent, which informs our request that any other person who would be allowed to pick up the child has already consented to being driven around by Mr. Higginbottom. We have established through testimony that from Mr. Higginbottom and Ms. Stroup that he is currently driving his mother around, his girlfriend around. And that is just in the instance that we have seen and with what Mr. Higginbottom has disclosed before the court. The 2 hours supervision is a good benchmark or a good starting point for supervision, just given the distance between the parties, what Ms. Stroup would have to drive to and back from for the child. And of course, it should be supervised by her or somebody else, even if it's supervised by Mr. Higginbottom's mother. We currently have no way to ensure that child will not be in a vehicle driven by Mr. Higginbottom. And because of what we have been told by Mr. Higginbottom, we have no assurances of that until he gets a valid driver's license. Aside from that issue, my client would say that Mr. Higginbottom does have the capacity to be a good and responsible parent. She certainly wants to encourage him to encourage the relationship that he has with the child. And we just feel that getting the driver's license issue resolved, which he's had 2 years or more, if he were to get that resolved, that it would certainly go a long way with this court in showing that. So we respectfully ask for the OAG's recommendations, which we are in agreement with, and that we ask the court to order as temporary orders that Mr. Higginbottom have supervised visitation with a mutually agreed upon person for 2 hours on the second and fourth Saturday of every month until his driver's license issue is resolved and he can prove to the court that he has a valid driver's license. We are further asking for a geo-restriction to Guadalupe County and surrounding counties, and that this court reserve all further orders for final hearing. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. Let me see here. Did anybody have in mind how quickly to come back on a court date for either further temporary orders to check in to make sure things are going right? Or obviously, Mr. Lopez, you would always have the right to call my office and get an earlier setting if necessary, but short of that, I usually have a backup date here so that everybody knows when they need to come back and what they need to do between now and then.
Certainly, Your Honor, if I may answer that,
Mhm.
I think we would be willing to have anything set at your discretion once Mr. Higginbottom can present my office with proof of a valid. I mean, we're hoping that this gets resolved within a matter of a month or weeks even. We can certainly ask the court to respectfully set something soon after we receive proof of a valid driver's license, or at least having this issue resolved.
Does the state take a position on the reset date?
No, Your Honor, it would just obviously need to be anything August and after. I know, Your Honor.
You know, I never let technical computer issues deal with what I have to do here in court because people's lives are at stake here, or their rights are at stake. So you know me, even if we have to keep adding cases despite a cap, I might do it. Because August is how many? April, May, June, July. I'm 4 months away. You know, I usually kick things off for at least 3 months. Here, I'm not sure. Still debating how quickly so that I could see things happened or didn't happen versus giving it a real merits hearing in August or later. And I'm not even going to ask Mr. Higginbottom how long he thinks it's going to take because it's already taken too long. He needs to start working on it immediately today.
Yeah, Your Honor, may I?
But I don't know how much bureaucratic stuff you're going to go through or what hoops you're going to have to jump through or including recalling warrants or submitting yourself to resolve
Your,
warrants. I mean,
Your
I have
Honor,
no idea. What?
may
Mr.
I?
Higginbottom?
I have a question regarding the restrictions to Guadalupe County because I live in Bexar County.
Duh, I forgot that part. Mr. Lopez, you want to address that?
Oh, yeah, Guadalupe, I think I may have left out the incontiguous counties. Which
So
would include,
I haven't looked at a map lately, but Bexar County touches Guadalupe from some direction.
Yes, Your Honor. I think Mr. Higginbottom is just wondering if that means the child can't leave or can't come to Bear County. I think that might be his question, but Mr.
Oh.
Yeah,
Higginbottom,
yes, ma'am. I was just asking because he said Guadalupe and I don't live there. That's again, like
no,
she said, 25 to 30 minutes away. So
No,
yeah,
just so that both parents understand, the geographic restriction is with respect to where mother allows a child to live, and she's gonna live with the child, obviously. So she gets to pick the child's residence, and it's restricted to the county she lives in and any county that touches that county. So that would
okay.
be Guadalupe and surrounding counties. However, that doesn't mean you have to move there.
Yeah, no,
If I understand, if Bear is a surrounding county of Guadalupe, then we don't have a problem with where people live. That's what that
correct.
is with respect to. Okay,
And-
right.
and-
But
and
you're
Your Honor,
asking me something else.
and I had, the only reason we were asking for was, but we believe that that was what was already agreed to with Ms. Coates. If I apologize if that wasn't agreed to, but, you know,
Well, I don't know
I think
anything about-
it would be
yeah.
fair and standard, and that we have no issue with it.
But everybody's here is telling me without me having to pull up a map that Guadalupe touches Bear County at some place, so it is a contiguous county. Because I don't deal with Bear County usually, and I'm in north of or west of Guadalupe. I haven't looked at a map lately.
yes, Your Honor. It does, but if it would make the court feel better, I could put Guadalupe and Bear for everyone.
No, because then it'd be while we also do contiguous to Bear. I don't want to go into that can of worms. But as long as Guadalupe and Bear are contiguous, then we don't have a problem. And I think
Sure.
Ms. Coates agrees with that, and I assume you do too, Mr. Lopez?
Yes, we'd be fine with that.
Okay, and then if I didn't hear as an agreement, then it's an agreement now. The geographic restriction. We were talking about a reset date, but I guess that's gonna depend on me too. Then here I go. Obviously, everything that y'all have agreed to, I don't have a problem with, including all the numbers and start dates. Child support, dental support, medical support, mother to provide the insurance. I think you said through another source, Ms. Coates, that's right?
Through her employer, Your Honor.
Oh, through an employer. I thought I heard other source, okay. App close as a way of communicating, you know, it's a way of sharing documents or pictures or whatever you want to share that might help. But it's also a way of communicating that is, you can't delete so that people do have reports that they can get. It might cost you money, but if people are being ugly and I didn't know they censored it, that's great. So it doesn't happen, but if it does, then there's avenues that you can get the report and prove things that people won't admit to here in court. But that's a good way of doing it instead of screenshotting whatever you have on your phones. On the issue of non-disclosure, did you address that, Mr. Lopez? I didn't hear anything that remotely came to the edge of being family violence, but I guess I'll ask you if you're asking for it or not.
No, we weren't asking for it, Your Honor.
Okay, so then there's no reason for non-disclosure. You can put that in there that there's no non-disclosure in this case. The retroactive support, obviously, we didn't hear it today. That is being reserved for another date, as well as all these other issues. If the facts change, then the rest of it could change as well. But for right now, as a temporary order, those will be granted, and there will be no referral to district court. On the main contested issue, well, the first thing is the parents shall be joint managing conservators. Mother has the right of primary custody with privilege of having name the residence of the child, and it will be with the geographic restriction to Guadalupe and contiguous counties. And again, that's by agreement of the parties. On the issue of father not withdrawing the child from the child's current, are you talking about just the current daycare or any daycare the child is in that Ms. Stroup has put the child in? I assume, Mr. Lopez, that it would be any daycare the child is enrolled in,
That would be correct, Your
in
Honor.
case that changes. And I think I heard, was that an agreement, Mr. Higginbotham?
Oh yeah, that's fine. And that's until driver's license is sent to David Lopez's office and you
No,
come back.
I haven't
Oh.
ruled on all that other stuff. I'm just asking about, you will not.
Oh yes, yes, ma'am. I will not. No, ma'am.
And what were the exact words y'all were using for the restriction on him at the daycare? Let me go back.
I had that Mr.
To
Higginbottom
withdraw?
agrees that he's not allowed to withdraw the child from daycare.
And withdraw means take him out to put him in another one, not just to go visit him or something else by agreement.
I think I could put he's not allowed to withdraw and re-enroll the child elsewhere.
Okay, and put daycare in there. Okay, and you agreed to that, you said, Mr. Higginbotham, I think. Okay, that'll be part of the order. On the issue of what was it, the educational and medical that mom wanted exclusive. I think mom's gonna have the veto power anyway at some point. If parents disagree, the person that has custody, somebody has to make that choice. Nobody's asking me to go tell y'all get a counselor or get some kind of person besides you all to make the final decision because the child's so young. So it's going to be a standard, Mr. Lopez, that dad has the right to be consulted. But just so that you know, being consulted, Mr. Higginbottom, that y'all should talk about it. If you can persuade her for something that you want, great. If you can't and you disagree, then she's going to have the final power to make that decision. You understand that, sir?
Understood.
I'm just not giving her the exclusive right for those two things, educational and medical. He should be consulted. Okay. On the visitation. You know, you made a clever argument, Mr. Lopez, that past is not present. Yeah, and their past consent should not equate to the present consent of the current supporting relatives. I get that, but I also get what I saw and what I see and what you all don't know I see and have seen with thousands of cases coming through here, that I don't get the kind of parents that this guy appears to be without the background of bad things, without and with custody of another kid, whether or not he has support from somebody else or other relatives, with no allegations of drugs or alcohol, I mean, or violence. You know, I commend Mr. Higginbotham for that. Now that you didn't do more, and especially that darn driver's license, that's going to be sticking your ribs for a while, Mr. Higginbotham, because you were the one that created the situation. It shouldn't be here, but we are. And we've been out of COVID for what? It's been 2 years now, a year and a half now. It's been a while. But I don't see where Ms. Stroup, that's the sole reason I should give him tiny, limited supervised visits. I just don't see it that way. That's why I'm glad to keep the case and I'm glad to put it on an earlier docket if I have to, just to make sure things are happening or not happening as I ordered. because I already yelled at you, Mr. Higginbottom. Consider this yelling because I try not to lose my temper here. But it's crucial that you get that darn license for as a 38-year-old man or however old you are. You know, there's no reason not to have a license if you have a car. There's no reason to have Ms. Stroup thinking that you might or might not sneak around in the middle of the night or rush off here or there with the child or whatever, just to spite her or spite me or spite anybody else, just to say that you can do it. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. I mean, any of that is ridiculous. It's silly. But here I am having to talk about it and ordering people to do the right thing. So I am ordering you. You cannot, without a valid driver license, ever have the child, this child in the car with you. And I'm warning you, you shouldn't have Courtney either, because if I get wind that you are driving Courtney, but not Caleb, then that's not good enough for me, because that's another child that I should be worried about too, even though that child is not part of this suit. So you must have a valid driver license or have a driver with a valid driver's license to pick up and drop off the child. And I'm not going to put the burden on her. I'm going to put it on you so she can see y'all drive up and who's driving and that it's not you and that the child will be transported back the same way. So you have the pickup and drop off obligations and cost and time and all of that. I didn't ask, but why, Mr. Lopez, why is the second and fourth weekends the important weekends that mom wants? Is there something going on first, third, and fifth, or because that's usually an unusual request? So I'm asking if there's some specific reason. I haven't heard.
No specific reason, Your Honor. Just when we were discussing it with Ms. Coates, she said second and fourth, and so that kind of just stayed within the.
Okay.
The
No,
decision.
sometimes there's things going on first, third, and because they have other kids or other obligations or whatever with custody of kids or other things. So that's
And Your
why.
Honor, if I may also, we have, if you could put in the order that Mr. Higginbottom respond to our discovery within 30 days. We sent it out in January. I'm happy to send it out again. We just want to make sure that that gets responded to so that we can have evidence to present at the next hearing.
What is it? Is it interrogatories? Is it?
It's just a lot of standard things with interrogatories and production. I don't think we sent any admissions, so.
Okay. So it means you answer questions, Mr. Higginbottom, and you
Your
produce
Honor.
documents that were requested.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. Isn't those are all the same questions he just asked me?
Well, no, he needs it in writing. And if you have
Oh, he needs it in writing?
documents you didn't produce, nobody produced documents here in the courtroom because I didn't see any. So yes, it would be, you still have to do it in writing because you're swearing to it outside of court and you have to do it by a certain time. Do you need them to be resent to you and you have 30 days from the day you get them to do it, or do you need something else, Mr. Higginbottom?
Let's do 30 days for the resend.
And you got him already, but he has, Mr. Lopez has your right email address for you?
Everything that I hope he does. If he doesn't, it's HIG.
No, don't tell me on the record. I don't want it
You're right,
there.
you're right. My bad.
But I'm just saying,
he
if
should,
you
yes.
already received them from him and you haven't changed your email address, then he has the right email, correct?
He does have the right email, yes. I just get a lot of emails because of work, so I don't.
Okay, then let's just start over, Mr. Lopez, resend them, and he has 30 days from that date, and appreciate your willingness to do that instead of filing sanctions and doing all sorts of other crazier things in family law cases, which
Yes.
kind of don't belong here, but it does. So, Mr. Lopez will resend the request for discovery and you put it in the order, and father has 30 days to respond from receipt of that request and by email to father's email. And if you have questions, the best person you could call is Mr. Lopez's office to figure out if you're understanding it right or if you're doing it right or what else you need to do. And they're not your lawyer, but I don't think they're going to mislead you because that's not ethical. So they'd give you some perspective on it or whatever else, try to answer your question if necessary. But if you can just do it and send it, and if you have them, you send them and you say what they are. If you don't have them, you say, I don't have access to them, but I can obtain access, or does not exist, or something. You have to answer. You just can't say NA, 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 NA. That doesn't help the situation, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And make sure you don't miss the deadline. Okay. So back to the visitation. I think it should be weekends. I really do. However, I don't think it necessarily needs to be Friday night to Sunday, but Saturday morning to Sunday on the first, third, and fifth weekends. And consider yourself lucky, Mr. Higginbotham, because I could have just granted mother's request and made a bigger deal. And it is a big deal already for that driver's license. But I'm going to trust.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
you see, and you're under a microscope, sir. You better not think you can get away with it because you can't. It'll come back to bite you. And I actually want you to bring your mother and your girlfriend next time. I have to talk to your,
Yes, ma'am.
if your mother's gonna lie to me, that's one thing, but I don't think she will. Most grandparents do care for the grandkids more than the kids because they know how valuable a
You got
small
12
minority is, and they don't want to mess that or mess with court. So I want your mother and your girlfriend here, if necessary, to be cross-examined.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Lopez, if you want to bring witnesses, I wouldn't recommend 10 because I wouldn't be able to handle it, or I might have to send you another court if y'all are going to take 8 hours of my time. I can't do that. I can do 2, I can do 1.5. I've gone as far as 3 if the docket allows, but don't expect it. But this is already a 2 hour and 15-minute hearing, just so that you're aware, and it's just 2 people. I
And
try
Your
not
Honor,
to ask questions, but if y'all can develop for me, I won't ask questions. But what I did today, I thought was absolutely necessary to before I feel comfortable doing anything other than supervised visits. But I'm convinced, ma'am, that he's not a danger, and ordering whatever you can think of to put in the order, and you can add to it, Mr. Lopez, about the driver's license situation. And the minute you get it, Mr. Higginbotham, I'm not going to order you to tell everybody, but you should tell everybody
Oh,
so
I
that
am.
you can sit back and not worry about it now. So
I'm-
I'm gonna do Saturday mornings, first, third, and fifth Saturdays. Um, are you at work on Saturdays, ma'am? Do you go to work, Mr.
No, ma'am, I don't.
So what time do you think that you can have a child ready and available, like 8 or 9 or no later than 10?
We can do about 10.
Does that work for you with the schedule and driving over there, Mr. Higginbotham?
Um, so that's 10 to pick up, and what time am I dropping off on Sunday, ma'am?
Sunday, I would say the normal 6 p.m.
Is that back at her? Is this her house? What location is this?
Yes, it would be her residence unless you did not meet at your residence and meet him at a public place, Ms. Stroup. I don't,
No,
then you
I
have
can
that.
get her residence. That's fine.
That would be the easiest if you already know where she lives.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I'm not doing a non-disclosure, so it'll be published in the order anyway. However, unless you want to get up and go somewhere else, Ms. Stroup, is there any reason, I guess, just out of caution to ask you why you shouldn't come over to your house to pick up the child?
No, ma'am.
Okay, but again, you can't be alone unless you prove you have a valid driver's license. You have to show it to her. You probably should make a copy of it and leave a copy with her so she can show it to her lawyer and make so she didn't get, thinks it was valid and then it wasn't. She didn't get to look at it closely. So you hear me, Mr. Higginbotham?
Yes,
Even if
ma'am.
you have the driver's
Loud
license,
and
bring her a
clear.
copy so she can have it and she can turn it into her lawyer.
Loud and clear, ma'am.
Okay, otherwise you're not going to be there alone. You're going to have somebody drive you there. And I'm not saying just go by themselves. I think that's ridiculous. You need to be part of this. The father needs to be present for the pickup and drop offs, just not be the driver of the vehicle. Because that's your job. I'm not gonna pawn that off on somebody else. You need to be there. Okay, so it'd be first, third, and fifth Saturdays at 10 a.m., ending on the following Sunday at 6 p.m. It occurs to me that Father's Day is gonna come up and there's no reason you should just ignore that. And I don't know if it'll be on the weekend he should have the child or not. So let's look at that. Father's Day is what day? Oh, my calendar didn't have it. Does anybody know what Father's Day is? Let's see.
Yes, Your Honor, it's usually on a Sunday, so.
Yeah, I know that, but which Sunday? Oh, the 15th, June 15th. So that would not be the first or third weekend, it'd be the second weekend. I'm gonna do that kind of as a makeup visit for the time he hasn't had the child. So for the month of June would be an aberration. There's no fifth weekend, but the Father's weekend is there. So I'm gonna do for June, the first, second, and third weekends. And there is a fourth weekend that mom will have. She won't be deprived of a weekend in June. But the second weekend happens to be Father's Day. I'm gonna allow him to have the same Saturday, 10 a.m. to Sunday, 6 p.m. So if you just want to put that separate for Father's Day, that's fine, Ms. Coates. The
Yes, Your Honor,
Father-
what I'm putting is Mr. Higginbottom shall have the child on Father's Day weekend, June 14th at 10 a.m. until June 15th at 6 p.m.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm not, and for Mother's Day, does mother get her weekend or does the father's weekend?
She gets her weekend.
I think that's right, because Mother's Day is the second weekend of May, so that's right. We don't have to address that. Mother will already have that weekend. Okay, and the court date. Depends on what I do on if I have to look at any other holidays. Let's see.
And Your Honor, while you're looking up, I have a question, if I may. Does this court require mediation before that final hearing?
No, we are exempt from all those wonderful local rules that you have for everybody else. We're usually exempt, so no. We do our own thing.
Okay.
But if you want to refer it, and then it's not my problem, it's yours. Let's see, so here we go, Ms. Coates, help me. Which is the least, they all already capped all the way through August to the maximum cap, which is not that much, but I understand the reason why. Is there one that's maybe don't have priorities on it? Let's see, in about 3 months, April, May, June, either 2 or 3 months, June or July.
June 3rd doesn't have any priorities. That has 20 cases. June 17th is your in-person, so there is now 3 in-persons that day.
Yeah, I don't think this needs to be an in-person necessarily.
And June 24th, the OAG is not open, Your Honor. That is one of our holidays.
Yes, I understand that. I already marked it out. So it's either June 3rd or July 1st, because there's no other Guadalupe is in between. April, May, June,
July 15th has 12 cases, Your Honor.
July 15th has 12.
And I am out for a lot of July, specifically
Okay.
the beginning and the end of July.
So you're not available July 1st or July 22nd?
July 1st, I am traveling, and second, I
Or
would
22nd? 22nd?
second. I could make that work, Your Honor, as long as it's via Zoom.
Is
And
there
then
a maximum there, Ms. Coates, or not?
July 22nd has 15 cases.
I thought the 15th was the bigger one.
July 1st has 20. July 15th has 12. July 22nd has 15. Then we move into August.
Well, then we have nothing early August because of conferences with your office and mine. So,
We have August 19th and August 26th.
Mr. Lopez, do you want it as far as August 19th, or do you think I should see it sooner?
We're okay with August. I think we're probably going to reach a resolution by settlement before. That is our hope.
Especially if things are going well.
Yes, and that gives us enough time to reach that settlement prior to.
Okay. I just want to be sure I'm not the only one that's being, out of abundance of caution, I need to see it in a month or less or something. I don't think that's necessary, but that's going to depend on you, Mr. Higginbottom, because if Miss Stroup gets any wind that you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing or something else comes along new, I bet her lawyer or the AG, if requested, can bring the case a lot earlier than August 19th, and they're allowed to do that. Bring it earlier if it needs for me to review it. But if not,
I'm not worried. That's fine. You said August 19th, correct, ma'am?
yeah, that would be Tuesday, August 19th,
10:30, Your Honor.
10:30.
Yes, Your Honor.
That would be fine. And I hope
August
you have an
19th,
agreement.
what time?
Mr. Higginbottom went 10:30.
10:30? Okay. I'm just saving it
10:30.
on my calendar.
It's
That's all.
got the same Zoom ID as today. It'll all be in writing, but I will put both parties on notice here on the record under oath that August 19th, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. For Guadalupe County on Zoom with the Zoom ID. They'll send it to you again in this order. However, you already have it from today. It's the same Zoom ID. Okay. Did I hit everything? Did I miss anything, Mr. Lopez, to your knowledge?
Sounds like you covered everything, Your Honor. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. And Ms. Coates, anything else?
No, Your Honor, just reserving retro child support and court costs.
Okay.
But I
Yes.
think that's it.
Okay, and Ms. Stroup, don't consider this a loss. I think it's a win for me to have found out all the stuff I found out and for me to feel comfortable that I don't think he's gonna screw it up. But you're gonna be you, and you need to be you, and you need to be watching and listening and observing. And if he's doing something wrong, you call your lawyer immediately because I'm not authorizing anything to go wrong. I want it to go right. And if just dad can be involved in your child's life, it's better for you and it's better for the child. And that's what I'm trying to do. And based on what I've heard in all the other cases I hear, it's not one of those other cases. I think this man can do it and he should do it unless he proves me otherwise. And I'll be really mad at you, Mr. Higginbottom. You violated this order because you're going to come back and see me and I take it seriously.
No, I'm not worried without a doubt, Your Honor.
I
I'll,
hear you, but I
I'll,
need you to follow up with that darn license. I do not want to know that in August you haven't done anything or you're barely starting.
no, that's fine. I'll find an appointment today, and you don't even have to worry about that.
And don't be driving if you don't have it. Last admonition. Okay, thank you, folks. Thank you so much. I appreciate your being here and your time and letting me try to do my thing. And so I'm not keeping my fingers crossed. I think I made a good decision. I can sleep at night. But if I did something, Mr. Lopez, bring it back to my attention, please.
Will do,
Okay.
Your Honor. Thank you.
And that concludes this hearing. All I need for y'all to know is that the state's going to draft the order. They're going to send it to you by email. They usually send it to your client as well, so she can review it at the same time before you get to talk to her and have her sign it. Mr. Lopez, you're okay with that? Yes. And so, Mr. Higginbotham, you check your emails. Anything from the Texas Office of the Attorney General is priority homework. That's this proposed order. I may not be in as early as 5 o'clock today, but maybe starting tomorrow, or check at 5 just in case. If it's there, great, review it, sign it. If for some reason you think you see an error, something you don't understand, question you have, you call the AG and resolve it. You cannot call my office. You either sign it and I get it, or you don't sign it. And a week from today, the state will submit it without your signature and I'll sign it without you because I'm rendering the order. It's my order now, with or without y'all's signatures. And that includes you, Mr. Lopez, too. So I hope 1 week's enough time, sir. You're muted. So 1 week's enough time. You're going to be
Yes.
around. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Then I'll finally let y'all be excused. All you have to do is click the leave meeting button. You're done. Thank you, folks.